Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The meeting of the giant aliens, the VELLA zone, the Warren, and the Fazio. Proceedings are about to begin. All rise for the Warren. Who cannot be here today or hasn't been here yet today because in all probability the Warren is back in the hospital, which is sad indeed. So in memory of the Warren, let's give the Warren a few seconds of prayer and meditation. Warren, I wish you were here. So let's get on to part 3 of this dissertation on what's going on the bottom and top of the flat earth, with the primer that all of my videos are done in a fashion otherwise known as comedy and or drama, and now taking place in the comedy drama reality of YouTube, baby. So let's get to my comment section. Remember, if you've come to my videos for these live streams about the giant aliens and what they're trying to do and correct on the bottom and top of the flat earth, by all means, please leave a comment and let us know whether or not you like these live streams, which are in part and in part fantasy. Was all of my 6,384 uploads. About 2,600 of those are public. Another 1,000 or so can only be seen on my Patreon account at varying pledge amounts. So if you haven't become a member of my Patreon account and you want to see some real comedy about politics and about my thoughts on the mental state of politicians in the world, and of course on my thoughts about political animals, which are all politicians by definition. A political animal is a person that is involved in politics. For those of you who didn't know, Google political animals, and you will see that all politicians that strive for an office are political animals. Let's get some comments up here on the board, and let's get some questions up here on the board for the giant aliens, the VELLA zone, and the Warren in the VELLA zone industrial complex and their bank of lawyers, which have now called, shouted out, screamed at the top of their lungs in unison that Dave from Little Testes, Texas, has been deemed a liar, a narcissist with some small amounts of the lazy gene gnome in their ancestry, which the giant aliens are working to correct right now. So any people, persons, entities, beings, giant aliens, and or little fellows, including Dave from Little Testes, Texas, is welcome. So to the machine, Uncle Sam. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the machine. So let's go back to my notes. I got to go to my show notes for this. I'm going to put this pot down for now, and I'm going to go to my show notes, and I'm going to continue from where we left off because of a very poor connection in the Philippines to the top and bottom of the flat earth. So what's occurring now on the bottom of the flat earth, as well as the top of the flat earth, and with the intermediary known as the Warren, negotiations are taking place to get the VELLA zone to fast forward the machinery necessary for time travel, to remove the reticent genes, otherwise known as the Bakakun Ka gene, which means liar in Visaya. The narcissist gene, which means narcissist in any language, and the lazy gene, which all three occur in Dave from Little Testes, Texas, not necessarily in that order, as well as the ancestry of the little fellows which originated on Pineapple Island in the Asiatic Sea. So this venue is done for purely comedic purposes, and probably not much in this venue is true. So time travel, or not much, is accurate. There is truth to all comedy and or satire. You will have to be the one that judges how much truth is in my comedy / satire videos. So the giant aliens, the VELLA, the Warren, and the VELLA Zone Industries, along with the Fazio, have deemed that time travel will indeed be necessary in order to reprogram or remove the genetic defects in the little fellows and the Dave, who now live in different places on the above and below surfaces of the flat earth. The reprogramming aspect of the little fellows and or the Dave, it is well known, consists of only a temporary fix until a good sample of DNA from Dave's sphincter muscle can be achieved. As of now, he is puckered up tighter than a clam's bottom, after running a series of lies on what is known as a lie stream that he does occasionally, sometimes hit and run lie streams, where he has promised to give the VELLA and the courts in the VELLA Zone, along with the bank of lawyers in the VELLA Zone and other authorities, legal documentation to prove certain things are true, including the fact that the giant aliens have 100% rights to the mining aspect of the element 115. However, without Dave's promised videos and documentation, the giant reptilians are at a loss for proof and can no longer go to the authorities without that information that was promised to the giant aliens on the top and bottom of the flat earth. And how this actually occurred is the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, offered documentation to prove certain things were true and would benefit the authorities in whether or not the giant aliens got a go-ahead and or proceeding granted for their lawsuit against certain other individuals. Once the original offer was made by the Dave in Little Testes, Texas, to give these documents up in order for the authorities to look over and assist in their case against the giant aliens, the request was legally sent, and the response was slow. 4 days passed after the initial request, and on the 4th day, a really shallow and or small response was given, stating that the Dave would have to review his past promises. Let's put it like that. 3 more days passed, and another request was sent to the Dave from Little Testes, Texas. And in that response, not 1 and not 2 and not 3 and not 4 and not 5, in fact 5, misspoke that, 5 individual lies were incorporated into one paragraph as a response for the requests. Several more days transpired and no response was given. So an additional request for those original documents that would help the authorities prove that the giant aliens had the rights to the mining were still not given. At this point, the documents became time sensitive and an additional request was sent out for one specific phone number to help the authorities get in touch with the people that could also supply documents and or proof. A response was given in the form of a number, but not the correct number. The authorities now believe this was intentional to throw them off and did slow down the workings of the proceedings by a few days by throwing what is known as a dog in the wheel or a cog in the wheel. So the authorities now have a piece of information that is incorrect, which makes the VELLA, the Warren, the VELLA zone, and their lawyers look foolish because the wrong information was given to the authorities based on a reply from the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, which made the giant aliens aware that the Bakakunka gene, otherwise known as liar in Visaya, is strong in this one, similar to that of Star Wars, where the Force is strong in this one, to the same negative effects to all involved. It has since been discovered that there are other reticent genes that are strong in both the little fellows and the Dave from Testes, Texas, Little Testes, Texas. The other two reticent genes that need to be removed are the narcissist gene or genome and the lazy genome, both of which the little fellows on the bottom of the flat earth and the Dave from Little Testes, Texas have proven to exist in their genetic history. Next page. Okay, let me go to my, we're here. Uncle Sam is slamming the comments down. Scott Del Fuego, come on, Philippines internet. Let's go ahead and stay connected for a while. Okay, so it looks like there are 11 people watching. I see 4 up and 2 down. That's great. People are commenting by using the power of their thumbs. Going back to the notes, Scott, otherwise known as the most elegant wordsmith on the internet, is here, and thank you for that. And let me get a little bit of water. This is the 3rd time I tried to do a live stream today. 5 thumbs up. Thank you very much. So we're also going to give a shout out to Big Kevin, who did a birthday live stream for Michael Fazio. And in fact, that live stream was thumb down 3-1. Very rare for a Big Kevin upload. I'm not sure, but I do believe that the people that are associated and watch the Big Kevin's great live streams are not happy with the Big Kevin that he did a show specifically designed for the Fazio. However, I do believe there is a coercement of a group of people in a society known as discord, which means discontent, in my opinion, that the Fazio is no longer welcome in their hemisphere of the flat earth. And that's okay with me, because the Fazio and myself do not care about their opinions. Mr. Willis, my unbuntag to Michael Fazio. Welcome to the machine, Mr. Willis. Welcome to the machine. Thank you, Uncle Sam, for the happy birthday. Mr. Willis, as are others here on this live stream, part of my Patreon community, where there are now about 750 videos that are private, depending on your pledge. Mr. Willis is a gentleman who was recently signed up, and I've spoken with Mr. Willis on the phone, that he is in fact coming to the Philippines, and we will be having a lunch or a dinner together. Mr. Willis, to let you know what kind of a gentleman he is, offered me money to escort him around the hall, and I declined. However, I did accept an invitation to a lunch or a dinner. So thank you for stopping by, Mr. Willis. I will not allow someone to pay me. I am not a tour guide, but I will enjoy the tour with Mr. Willis. So let me get back to my notes, and let's go back to the notes. Apparently, this fellow Dave, and he's not a fellow as in would be considered in a Masonic order at all. Okay, in order to become a fellow in the Masonic order, you have to be an honest individual, at least to your brother Masons. So when I say fellow, let's clear this up. He is not a fellow in the order of Masonry. The power of this Dave from Little Testes, Texas, is big. Why that exists, no one is actually quite sure. But he seems to have some sort of controlling power over what I call a flock of followers. But that's not the only entity that has control over his flock, so to speak. The little fellows also have public venues, and they seem to have an also powerful stronghold or strong arm on their flock. Why these strong arm tactics exist for either one, considering they have the genetic defect genome in their ancestry known as the Bakakun-Ka gene, which means liar in Visaya, and the narcissist gene, which means narcissist in any language, well, whether above or below, which is also a statement from the Masons, and or the lazy gene, but the lazy gene is not so predominant in one as the other. In fact, one of the factors of the little fellows is that they pump out an unprecedented amount of information on a daily basis, whereas Dave from Little Testes, Texas, prefers the hit and run method. He'll put a video up and then take it down. He'll put another video up and then take it down. He'll put another video up and then take it down. Because he comes from Little Testes, Texas, it's self-explanatory. Moving on to the next paragraph. For those of you, the reason that the giant aliens are now doing a DNA extraction from the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, and several of the little fellows which have been abducted and noted in my last 3 days ago live stream, it is because there are genes that lead to a time that the genes first appear from those giant aliens' point of view. And the giant aliens will go back in time when the genes first appeared by using samples and or DNA from the sphincter muscles of the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, and the several little fellows that have been abducted by the giant aliens. What the DNA will show and help the giant aliens with is it will show the time that the reticent genetic defective genes in the Dave and the little fellows, otherwise known as the liar or Bakakun-Ka gene, the narcissist gene and or the lazy gene, will appear in their testing procedures as to when the genes first occurred, at which point the giant aliens will have to go to a pre-genetic date of the first exposure of those genetic defects and remove the reticent genes from the ancestry of the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, and the little fellows. Because at this point in time, several hundred years later, the genes have become problematic with the little fellows and the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, in that they are causing chaos on social media because no one knows what is true anymore except the lawyers and or the authorities in the VELLA zone that do have the documentation and including the wrong information that was given for the court case from the Dave from Little Testes, Texas. The little fellows don't have any information that will help the bank of lawyers in the VELLA zone. So at this point, this entire procedure is to just go back in time using the machinery in the VELLA zone and granting access to the machinery in the VELLA zone to the giant aliens that have the ability to move through time, unlike the normal human genome. These giant aliens are from a reptilian background and apparently have more access and ease to move through time. So that's why the access to the time travel machinery from the VELLA to the giant aliens is specific to be used only by the giant aliens. In fact, the giant aliens travel on unicorns, which also have access and the ability to move through time using the machinery in the VELLA zone. So what we have to digress, so we have 3 genetic defects in Dave from Little Testes, Texas, who was previously known as the Dave. We have 3 genetic defects in the little fellows on the bottom of the flat earth who are mining the gold. And those genetic defects are, number 1, the Bakakun Ka gene, which means liar in Visaya. The narcissist gene, which means narcissist in any language, and the lazy gene, which is becoming problematic. So the VELLA is streaming up the time travel machinery, and a one-way or another time travel will be used to remove the reticent genes, which means if the giant aliens and their unicorns go back in time to remove these genes, the possibility exists that they will not be returning, and they will have to hide on the bottom or top of the flat earth until they expire, so that they don't change history and interfere with the future time travel of themselves going back in time to remove the reticent genes. It has been tried without success to realign the genetic defects in this world in today and today's time frame. But there are so many genetic defects and so many variations in the little fellows that to gather them up in one place and to remove the genetic defects is going to be proven as an impossibility. Now, as far as the Dave is concerned, there's just one Dave, and they could remove the genetic defect, but, no pun intended, Dave, from being exposed with the 5 consecutive lies in the messages to the authorities, has clammed up his sphincter tighter than a clam's buttocks. So DNA from the internal workings of the Dave, or previously known as the Dave, are not possible. So they need to go back in time and pull a surprise visit on Dave and get that DNA and change it to something that's usable. It should be noted at this time, Don C, D-O-N space C. How should I word this? A request for the information that Don C. was going to possibly provide has been sent out, and after 14 hours, no response has been returned. Perhaps a response will be returned, but I just wanted to make a note to Don C. that I did request that information on behalf of the VELLA and VELLA Industries as their representative on the top and bottom of the flat earth. The request has been sent out and no response in 14 hours has been given, and I seriously doubt that any response will be given. Now, oh my God, there's super chat. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm going to have to sing. Crooked Mouth, whoever that is, has donated $2 in super chat. This is super chat. Super chat. Super chat makes my pot happy and makes it smile. So let's make sure that you can see the smile on the super chat pot, which you can. And let's sing a little bit. We'll give we'll give a little musical tune. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, Crooked Teeth. Salamat for the super chat. That's right, baby. All donations are welcome. And let's move back to my notes. Let's move back to my chat window. Scott Del Fuego, who is otherwise known as the greatest wordsmith on YouTube, says, thanks, Crooked. Your support of the channel is appreciated. Salamat. Knitting Paula. Knitting? Oh my God. I've heard that name before. Where did I hear that name before? Hey, Crooked Mouth, I believe I saw you on a little fella. Oh, that sounds a little bit sensual, Knitting Paula. Thanks for stopping by. Scott Del Fuego, the wordsmith, has long words to display here. Movement through space and time requires an expenditure of some type of energy, whereas movement through time takes no expenditure of known energy. Simply existing of entails movement through time. That's true. For those of you who wish to know more about time travel, it's dimensional space. I'm going to say a name. I'm going to even write the name down in the notes so that you can get an understanding of where I make note of time travel. Happy Mr. Mike from Pads 46. Well, thank you for stopping by. Salamat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pads 46. So I'm going to thank you very much for stopping by. Welcome to the machines, Pads 46. Uncle Sam says, unicorns, good one, Michael. Salamat, Sam. Okay, so let me write down ALANWATTS. Alan Watts has always been a favorite philosopher of mine since the 1970s. A gentleman that studied philosophy as well as metaphysical aspects of reality, and brought back his understanding of the philosophical aspects from great mystic masters known as remnants from the writings of Jesus and Buddha and the Upanishads, as well as the Hindu and Zen Buddhist philosophies. Alan Watts is one of the greatest philosophers on YouTube, and he has a 24-hour continuous live stream. And if you listen to this, you will understand that both space and time travel is possible on a mental or psychic level. However, once the mystic masters reach this level of concentration and ability, they realize it's really not that important. And they go back to the everyday mundane life of living in this material world, with the understanding that other dimensions of time and space exist. It's called, there's a little phrase, a little catchphrase, once I climbed the mountain and then I descended the mountain. It means they have reached the zenith of knowledge and they realize that up there, it's a very lonely existence. So they come back to this planet, plane of existence, and they interact with us lowly humans in a very benign way, and they try to help us along our path in the universal understanding of the universal consciousness of all things, where we are all one and all part of a big, giant cosmic joke. That's what they refer to as cosmic consciousness, a cosmic joke, because once you reach those planes of existence, higher levels of self-awareness and or the Christ consciousness and Buddha consciousness, you too will realize that this is much closer to, as Master Richard Behrens once stated, life is like an illusion or an image miraculously projected. That's right, Master Richard Behrens. Life is like an illusion or an image miraculously projected. So let's go back to the notes. And, okay, so there is another reticent gene in both the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, and the entire ancestry of the little fellas. So this probably means that time travel is going to have to be pushed to its limits, which is about 500 years, to the beginning of the existence of the gnomes that got their start in a place called the Pineapple Islands in the Asiatic Sea. So about 500 years ago, there were some genetic defects in birthing regular humans, and the birthing process resulted in smaller people, otherwise known as little people, and later to become known as gnomes. But now they are referred to as the little fellas. So including the narcissist gene, the lazy gene, and of course the Bakaku and Ka gene, which means liar in Visaya, is another genetic defect called the delusions of grandeur genome. Delusions of grandeur genome is a gene that makes the little fellows and Dave from Little Testes, Texas, think that somehow they are above the rest of the fray. This can be seen more exemplary by the followers of the Dave, especially those in something called discourse, where they seem to all vote on whether or not to give a particular video vlog and or social entity a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I noticed this in my previous live streams where I was getting on average about 5 thumbs down, maybe 6, sometimes 7. But once I was placed on the wrong side of the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, as many as 19 thumbs down would occur, which leads me to believe that there's a total of about 15 people in another social media gathering called Discourse that they all vote in basically one block formation. And they get their orders from Dave from Little Testes, Texas, who has some sort of control over the entity known as Discourse, which means discord, which means discontent. So we basically have 15 malcontents on Discord that vote in a block and will push the thumbs down button, as seen in the live stream by the Big Kevin, who did a wonderful live stream for Mr. Fazio's 64th birthday and received 19 thumbs down, as opposed to just a few thumbs up. So the voting in the block theory is a theory, but it seems to have proven true, because even on some of my previous live streams, I have noticed as many as 19 thumbs down, and that's not really possible for if you watch my content. Not in my opinion. So delusions of grandeur gene in Dave, examples as follows. Okay, Dave from Little Testes, Texas, stated, he doesn't need the VELLA or the VELLA zone, the Bank of Lawyers, the Warren, or the Fazio to take down the giant aliens. He will single-handedly take down the giant aliens when he gets back to the bottom of the flat earth. However, as of right now, I wouldn't take too much credibility in the Dave statement, because right now the giant aliens have the Dave, previously known as the Dave. Right now, the giant aliens have Dave firmly strapped to a gurney on the bottom of the flat earth. And they are now working vigorously to get DNA samples from Dave's sphincter muscle. And it just looks like it's a matter of time and will from Dave of Little Testes, Texas, and the giant aliens before DNA is going to be retrieved. Now, as noted in Star Wars, certain forces are strong in these ones, and the Bakakun Ka, which means liar, gene, in Dave is very strong. And Yoda noted that the Bakakun Ka gene in this one is strong. And removing this gene by using realignment is probably not going to be possible. And Yoda stated that time travel is going to probably be needed to remove these three reticent genes. The narcissist gene, which is firm in both the little fellows and their ancestry of gnomes, and in Dave from Little Testes, Texas, is firm and immovable. So time travel, according to Yoda, is definitely going to be needed. There are complications with the little fellows and the Dave, which are similar. So, if any of those reports even exist from the Dave proving that the giant aliens have authority to move forward in their case, to be the sole owner of Element 115, those proofs that Dave offered in a previous live stream, L-I-E, live stream, have been repeatedly denied, and when information was told to the Dave was time sensitive, a false telephone number was given back in return, and when called out on the carpet for this false report, the Dave and his narcissist gene kicked in big time and made it not his fault for giving false information to the authorities and the VELLA in the VELLA zone and the Bank of Lawyers, causing a problem with the authorities' response to the ongoing investigation as to whether or not the giant aliens have the right to mine element 115 on the top and or bottom of the flat earth. The timeline of events is as follows. Late August, Dave from Little Testes, Texas, posted a live stream, that's L-I-E, live stream, at the VELLA's request with the information said to be available to the VELLA in the VELLA Industries and to the Bank of Lawyers that are going to directly speak with the authorities. Dave from Little Testes, Texas, offered this information freely, along with not only video proofs that the aliens have the right to mine element 115, but also a previously known court document that Dave from Little Testes, Texas himself placed on behalf of the giant aliens that they should have the right to mine the gold. And when asked for the docket number, nothing came back from the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, except Bakakun Ka, which means liar in Visaya, and one piece of false information. Whether or not this false information was given on purpose or not, I'll let you decide. The information was in a request for a specific telephone number to get in touch with certain authorities that can help the giant aliens mine the element 115. And the telephone number was given, and one of the digits from the central portion of the telephone number were missing. When called out on the carpet for giving wrong information, the narcissist gene kicked in big time and made it the fault of the Bank of Lawyers in the VELLA zone. It made it the Bank of Lawyers in the VELLA zone's fault for requesting the same information for 14 consecutive days. And the Dave from Little Testes, Texas says, "Why are you rushing me?" Even though 3 individual requests were sent out. "Why are you rushing me? I'll get around to it when the time is needed." But the information was time sensitive. The wrong information was sent. The authorities are now looking at the lawyers in the VELLA zone as not so trustworthy because of the Dave from Little Testes, Texas. Now, the lawyers believe this information was given incorrectly on purpose because it's the middle digit, not the first or last digit, missing from the phone number that would solve all of these problems. They also believe the information was given incorrectly because there is, when it comes to videos and or docket numbers to the authorities that Dave said he filled out to prove that the giant aliens had the right to mine element 115, none whatsoever. No docket numbers, no videos, no legal documents were passed on to the VELLA in the VELLA zone. In addition, as previously stated in another live stream, Dave from Little Testes, Texas, and this is where the narcissist gene plays a big role, said he will single-handedly take down the gnomes against the giant aliens without the use of the VELLA zone. So basically, the narcissist gene is strong in this one, and instead of working with the authorities to take down the gnomes' request for half of element 115 proceeds, Dave from Little Testes, Texas, decided and stated that he will single-handedly take down the gnomes without the use of the VELLA zone, the lawyers in the VELLA zone, and or the authorities that are working in the VELLA zone. So, proof that the narcissist gene is strong in this one. Let me go back to my notes here. Oh, Bill Martin. Yes, Bill Martin. Yes, I am speaking the truth, Bill Martin. If you've been following the storyline of the giant aliens and the gnomes, you can understand without me showing you the documents and the requests made to Dave from Little Testes, Texas. Rest assured, these documents will be placed into safekeeping for the authorities in the future cases to notify the authorities that Dave from Little Testes, Texas is probably not to be taken serious. That's all I can. They will probably never be disclosed as public in a public format, but they will be. It will be noted in the documents and in the case history that Dave from Little Testes, Texas, has the genetic defects of a liar, a narcissist, and to somewhat lazy in combination with the hit and run genome, where he puts up videos and takes them down, and puts up videos and takes them down. Even though it has been noted that Dave from Little Testes, Texas, abhors hit and run videos, he himself is complicit in doing hit and run videos. So let's go back to my notes. Bill Martin, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bill Martin. And Salamat. Captain Late Night got a big smile there. Thanks very much, Captain Late Night. Salamat, thank you. And welcome to the machine, Captain Late Night and Bill Martin. And back to the notes so that I can get through this live stream without getting cut off again by the great internet service in the Philippines. As noted previously, and will have to be mentioned again, the narcissist gene is strong in this one, aka Dave from Little Testes, Texas. The reps, or otherwise known as the reptilians, are also trying to remove the Bakakun Ka gene, which means liar in Visaya, from Dave of Little Testes' ancestry. But it is proving difficult, as previously stated, because the sphincter muscle in the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, is puckered up tighter than a clam's rectum. In addition, at this point, in the last 15 or 20 minutes, Dave has moved himself back up to a desert climate in Texas, and the giant reptilians are water-based creatures. So they're going to have to send up people in something similar to scuba diving suits with water in them in order to get to Dave in Little Testes, Texas, in order to remove the genetic material they need to time travel back in time. And I'll tell you why they need this genetic material to travel back in time right now. The genetic material from the Dave, or previously known as the Dave, and the little fellows is required because in the genetic material itself, there is a time stamp, or like a carbon dating of when these genetic defects first occurred. So the giant aliens have the ability to find out when these genetic defects first occurred. And the VELLA in the VELLA zone has a time travel machine that can send the giant aliens back in time. That's why the genetic material is needed. The reptilian aliens call in the VELLA, okay, to send out agents to collect DNA samples from the sphincter of the Dave. Now, they already have genetic samples from the little fellows because, as noted in a previous live stream, the 7 little fellows were, it's in the title, 7 little fellows were abducted by the giant aliens, and the DNA required is in fact in the hands of the giant reptilian aliens. However, after multiple tests and tries to realign these genetic defects, the reptilians realize how important it is to go back in time to remove these reticent genes from the gnomes, which was the original name of the little fellows and originated on an island called Pineapple Island in the Asiatic Sea, as well as from Dave from Little Testes, Texas, because they both have some strange ability to lie with impunity to their flocks. And the reptilians realize that this must be corrected from before a time when it starts, thus the need for time travel. So far, again, they have no samples from Dave from Little Testes, Texas, but they do have the oldest little fella's DNA that they got from a moist jujube bean that was excreted intact. So They do have some DNA samplings from a jujubine excreted intact, and they believe the jujubine came from the oldest little fella because, as noted in previous live streams, the other little fellows, or known as the flock of the oldest little fella, they have no jujubines because the jujubines are not flowing. Now, a new wrinkle has been entered into today's problems. Okay. There is a laboratory working in secret in an unknown location that have created what are known as magic jujubines. It is believed this secret laboratory is on one of the Pineapple Islands, and that these people that are creating these magic jujubines are in fact doing so to supply an unlimited amount of magic jujubines to the underside of the flat earth for the little fellows and the oldest little fellow, so that they can fight the giant reptilian aliens on their quest to take 100% of the mining rights away from the little fellows and the oldest little fellows. So these magic jujubines are chemically altered to become much more powerful than the original jujubines. And this poses a threat to the giant aliens. So there is a race to get the VELLA, to get the time travel machinery in place, to get the giant aliens back in time so all of this can be alleviated before it starts. There's very much chaos going on in the bottom of the flat earth right now because of the giant jujubines, or the magic jujubines, and their distribution. If it's a certainty, if these magic jujubines get out and somehow they're transferred from the Pineapple Islands to the bottom of the flat earth, the giant reptilian aliens are going to lose the battle in the court, in the VELLA zone, with the authorities. So the relevance to the magic jujubines has now preceded almost all other factors in this situation except for time travel. So the VELLA has been requested to work 24/7 with this team of scientists to get the time travel machinery up and running. Meanwhile, on the bottom of the flat earth, the reptilian aliens are studying how Dave from Little Testes, Texas, has such control over his flock, especially when using Discord, when in fact he is Bakakun Ka, which means liar in Visaya. That's what the reptilians are working on now, to find out how the Bakakun Ka gene works and how it has control over such a large membership of people on both Discord and other social media sites. Here is a problem, and this comes from the narcissist gene as well as the Bakakun Ka gene, which means liar in Visaya. Here is a problem. Dave from Little Testes, Texas, says he opposes the Bakakun Ka claim against him, but he is at best Bakakun Ka because he is better at it than the gnomes, who are the little fellows on the bottom of the flat earth. In other words, Dave from Little Testes, Texas, has perfected the Bakakun Ka, which means liar in Visaya gene, and he almost had the authorities believing it until the authorities saw the interaction of the VELLA zone team of lawyers and the Dave, and that the false information given by Dave to the authorities was in fact, in all likelihood, intentional. So they gave up any hope of truth coming from the Dave from Little Testes, Texas, and no longer is truth or videos or the docket numbers for the court cases that Dave from Little Testes, Texas, says he has requested. They are no longer requests for any information from Dave from Little Testes, Texas. Now, there's a fellow named Don C. who explained that I would be able to get in touch with him through a third party. That request was sent out, Don C. If you are listening, if you're in the live stream, if you go on Passport TV's channel tonight, I will tell you that after 16 hours, no response. At this point, I should really check. Yes, sir, no response has been given. None. So the request was sent out 16 hours ago, but no response has been given. Not even a placated response. To my notes, let's check to make sure we still have a live stream, and we do, which is amazing. Let's go back to my notes, and let's enter Warren as the head wanker general in the VELLA zone at this point. So Warren was ceremoniously presented with a placard of the wanker general and or designated officer to work on the bottom of the flat earth and the top of the flat earth on the board of lawyers that are working to help the giant aliens get control of element 115. Unfortunately, Warren probably couldn't, because Warren is suffering from cancer, and he was in the hospital for 12 hours yesterday. And in all probability, I haven't heard from Warren because he's back in the hospital today. So he has ceremoniously been awarded the wanker general in the VELLA zone, which means that his thoughts and or wishes and desires of the lawyers on the bank of lawyers, and only the VELLA is above the wanker general, otherwise known as the Warren, in the VELLA zone. So there was only one controlling factor, known as the VELLA, in the VELLA zone, which supersedes the wanker general's requests and or statements. However, in a subsequent statement, when the wanker general, otherwise known as Warren, was designated the key factor on the panel of lawyers in the VELLA zone, the VELLA put out a sub-series of statements adhering to the following. Number one, the VELLA will never supersede the wanker general, aka Warren's wishes. The VELLA gives the wanker general, otherwise known as Warren, full purview to do whatever he wishes and push this investigation to whatever direction the wanker general, otherwise known as Warren, chooses to do. And the VELLA has called for mass praying ceremonies for the wanker general that his cancer subsides. So the VELLA, who is a very religious individual, is now in negotiation directly with a descendant of Jesus Christ in order to pray for the Warren, otherwise known as the wanker general, and his well-being. So thank you, Mr. VELLA, for that. Now, I should also note that the wanker general, Warren, was invited about 2 weeks ago to Discord to communicate with the entities on Discord by a discontented person in the social media service. And the link was sent out to the wanker general, otherwise known as Warren, to become a member of Discord. At which point, Warren took the link, aka the wanker general took the link and went to Discord, who is basically controlled by the flock of the Dave from Little Testes, Texas. Now, whether or not Dave from Little Testes, Texas was on Discord is unknown. But once Warren entered into the Discord community, less than 15 seconds, according from a statement from the Wanker General himself, Warren, in less than 15 seconds, someone with authority in the course of Discord booted Warren off with no reason. So, again, falsely indoctrinated into Discord just so that he could be booted off was someone's idea of a sick joke. And the Warren, otherwise known as the Wanker General, did not appreciate it whatsoever and has now called for a complete, how shall we say this, a complete boycott of anybody known to be on Discord. Anybody known to be a member of the Discord community, because Warren, aka the Wanker General, was booted off, the Warren is calling for a boycott of social media things that they do on social media. Okay, so who did the booting of the Warren, aka the Wanker General? No one knows. The fact that remains that he was in fact booted off. Okay. That's right, Samuel. Warren is the number one wanker, baby. Wanker General. And I got back to the show notes. So any questions to the Wanker General, because the Wanker General is probably undergoing pain therapy and perhaps even emergency surgery, based on what I saw yesterday on Skype, will have to be addressed to me or in the chat window, and I will try to ask the Wanker General what the answers are, because I don't know what's going on a day-to-day basis. I really should get the telephone number to the hospital that the Warren, aka the Wanker General, goes to, so I can keep in touch with him, or at least the doctors. So I can't answer for the Warren. And in fact, I wouldn't answer for the Warren because he's in charge of this venue. I will pass any questions along. So thank you, Mr. Vella, for the prayers, and thank you for getting in touch with one of Jesus Christ's descendants to pray for the Warren, aka your new Wanker General. Okay, the rest of this is probably not going to be taken lightly, so I won't say it. But I do have some other things to say about some of the people who requests have been made and have been quiet on the subject. Some of the requests were flat out denied. Some of them were denied because they fear the head of Discord and or the person who has the biggest control over the flock. They just basically fear his reprisals if they give information without his permission. And as you well know, his help is non-existent. So he has a flock that will not participate in any requests made for any information to help the giant reptilian aliens control element 115 mining. Okay, so one thing that you should notice is that it is believed that both the little fellows and the oldest little fellow and Dave from Little Testes, Texas, have multiple accounts on social media. So if you decide to believe some of the comments And if you decide to believe that it's possible for my videos to get 19 thumbs down, then you have been taken into and under the guise of the Bakakunka gene, which means liar and desire, the narcissist effect, and the lazy genetic defect, as well as several others which will be mentioned in an upcoming live stream. And I will give you an update as to where the court case is right now in a next upcoming live stream. Also, I'm going to try to get Daisy May on a live stream Sunday morning so she can explain to you what's going on in Mindanao. But we're not going to talk about Daisy May right now. This upload is, I just wanted to give it a shout out to Daisy May in Mindanao, and that we will be having communication with Daisy May in the near future. So if anybody has any questions, Bill Martin seems to understand that the truth is being said here in a kind of comedic fashion. Do you have any questions that I might be able to respond to? That's right, Samuel. The whoever is in control of the Discord community booted the wanker general. And the wanker general was just, oh my God, proof that the wankers are, proof that the, proof, we have some proof here. We have proof that what I say is true. It just changed from 19 to 18 thumbs down. Yeah, that's about where it starts. Normally 4 or 5, and then 15 members of discourse will give it a thumbs down. So we have 18 thumbs down, which is just not possible on any of my live streams. Never happened before. And 9 thumbs up. So we have in fact the entire community of Discord here right now watching and saying nothing, because that is what they do. Say nothing and watch. They don't have the testes necessary to make a statement here. Well, we're back up to 19. Here we go. Proving once again that not only is what I say factual. Oh, 20, went from 19 to 20. Not only what I say about Discord is factual, but they don't even like the idea that I mentioned that the wanker general, a.k.a. Warren, was thrown off. So they are here in full force. They have probably been gathered by the head of the discourse community, whoever that might be. It is known that the original request for Warren to become part of Discord was sent out by a name that represents a female, but which female I forgot. So the original request for Warren to become part of the Discord community was, according to the wanker general, sent out by a female. But, no pun intended, the female sent the request out probably without permission from the head of the discourse community, and was probably reprimanded strongly for that invitation being sent out without proper permission. That, I would imagine, is true. So, if there are no questions, I actually feel like I'm going to call Daisy May in a few minutes and discuss her coming on a live stream on Sunday. Did send Daisy some monies this week so that she does, in fact, have the funds to get a load to come on live stream. 17 viewers. That's a good point, Uncle Sam. 17 viewers and only 1 active at this point. That's because they all fear the leader of Discord, and his wrath will fall upon them if they comment on my video. Plus the fact that Big Kev, who runs a great channel and some good comedy, who I've had some complications with in the past, and he had some complications with me in the past, who I now firmly believe you should go to his channel to watch some great comedy. Big Kev put up a live show wishing me a happy birthday. And that was 5 days ago, and he's been gone since then. So even what I might be possible is that the members of Discord turned on Big Kevin. It's possible. Not provable, but it's possible. And I only say this because as now, we have, again, 19 thumbs down, 10 thumbs up. But that number 19 seems to be where the Discord crew maxes out. On my live stream given to me by Big Kevin channel, he has 19 thumbs down and only 6 thumbs up on my happy birthday live stream. So I do believe there is a connection. Of course, it's impossible to know what this connection is and or why, or even if it's true. But the fact remains that there is a certain element on social media that are communicating with each other in the background, and in all likelihood, they have a leader. Sometimes they call him the king. Sometimes they call their revered leader. Sometimes they call him other names. I have my name for him. And as I stated, I wish to expose the genetic only so that I can get the giant aliens to get back on track with mining element 151. That is my whole purpose in life at this point, to get the bank of lawyers and the authorities working for the VELLA zone to get this case settled. I will do it without the information that was offered to me through the Dave. I will do it without his lies and bakakun ka, which means liar in Visaya. It will get done. Rest assured, it's going to get done. I just want to post this information to let you all know that Dave from Little Testes, Texas, has proven to be absolutely useless when it comes to supplying the information that he offered and then giving false information to the authorities to slow down the process. And the fact that the narcissist gene kicked in, and Dave from Little Testes, Texas, said he doesn't need the bank of lawyers working in the VELLA zone, and he doesn't need any help from the giant reptilian aliens. He certainly doesn't need any help from the Fazio. He will, in fact, take down the giant aliens all by himself, thus proving that the narcissist gene is strong in that one. And this ends my dissertation from today. Thank you all for stopping by. Sunday's live stream will be a Super Chat Sunday. I will have an array of pots, including a 5-gallon aluminum pot, a 3-gallon stainless steel pot, a 2-gallon stainless steel pot, and something that you guys haven't seen on this video yet, a square pot. This is a square pot given to me by the giant aliens. And they told me that the frequency vibrations inside the square pot, if placed properly on my head, will increase my ability to determine truth, justice, and the American way. That's right, baby. So with this pot on my head, I bid you adieu, which means goodbye in French. Once a General Michael Fazio, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny. Salamat, Uncle Sam. Scott, I'm fearful. Scott is fearful for the Warren H, I think. Oh, no, not fearful for the Warren H. Scott the Fuego. When King Leonidas excuse me, I know this one. When King Leonidas was challenged at Thermopylae, which means where the 300 Greeks fought off 100,000 warriors. When King Leonidas was challenged at Thermopylae by thousands of Persians and told to surrender by Xerxes and lay down their weapons, he said, Molon Labi, as Michael does to the enemy, Molon Labi. That's right. We will never surrender the right of truth, justice, and the American way. So let me read it again. When King Leonidas was challenged at Thermopylae by thousands of Persians and told to surrender to Xerxes and lay down their weapons, he said, Molon Labi, as Michael does with the enemy. Uncle Sam, I seen this. There's a gift there at this time, 148, 200. Love, something weird happened. Are you okay, brother? Uncle Sam, Walong Anuman, Michael, Fazio, Umping Permi, Sammy. Molanabi, lay down my weapons. Come and take them, baby. Come and take them. The authorities are on our side. Just remember that. And the authorities are working vigorously to remove all impurities in this situation. So remember, when you bang a square pot, it doesn't have the effect of a round pot, but the resonating frequency should bring truth, justice, and the American way back into the mix. I'm being Permi from Michael Fazio and Daisy May in the Philippines, baby. And remember, Sunday's live stream is going to be a Super Chat Sunday. So let's show you what Super Chat means in English. It has a definite signature in English, and it's called the money sign, baby. We're going to have a Super Chat money sign Sunday. I'm being Permi. And remember, which is a little ditty you can do in meditation, which brings up certainly your creative genome and the truthful genome, which we all aspire to have, except for apparently the little fellows and the gnomes, which originated on Pineapple Island, and of course, Dave from Little Testes, Texas. Remember, truth, justice, and the American way shall prevail even in the Philippines, baby. Even in the Philippines, baby. Good night, Scott. Good night, Daisy. Good night, Samuel. Good night, Mr. Willis. I'm Pink Permy. Good night, John Boonbean. Take care to all. Thank you for the birthday wishes, John Boonbean. I haven't responded to that comment, but thanks very much. And thank you, Samuel, for all your great comments. And God bless everybody. Remember, M stands for money, because Sunday's live stream is going to be Super Chat. Super Chat. M standing for money. Money, 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 money. R-O-M. That's right, baby. Good night. Sleep well. Oh, we have another one. Crooked Mouth. This is Super Chat. Salamat, Crooked Mouth. Well, we have to sing now. We always sing for Super Chat, baby. Crooked Mouth says, this is a Super Chat. Salamat. And it looks like you have a mask on, Crooked Mouth. Scott's thanking Crooked Mouth for his support for the channel. Appreciate it. Knitting Paula is here. Crooked Mouth, I believe I saw you on a little fella. Scott the Fuego. Where is, whoa, oh, it's not another Super Chat. It's somehow the thing, we're going to say thank you to Crooked Mouth anyway. What happened was when I was banging the pot, because I'm going to make a lot on Sunday, the slide bar went all the way up to the top. Well, we have to do it again and say goodbye. Remember, smile. Smiles make the world go round. I will say goodnight to Daisy. She's my next project today. Thanks, and bye-bye, everybody. God bless. Talk to you guys later. Warren is my first phone call, then Daisy. Let's pray for Warren, all kidding aside. If there is power in prayer, let's see if we can get a little bit of that moving in his direction. Bye-bye for now. Humping Permy.